guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, hi, my name is Madison and I post college related videos specifically based around nursing since I'm in nursing school, and I also post fashion, beauty, lifestyle videos here and there as well. So if you're not already, make sure you guys subscribe and follow me on Instagram. I'll put it right here. So we are really just gonna get into this video. I don't want to make it too long. This is something that's weighing on me to share a lot. I get so many comments, so many DMs, and I posted on my community tab of my page if you guys wanted me to kind of share my experience and my, I guess, journey with mental illness and depression and anxiety. And I got an overwhelming response, and then I have been putting it off for so long because I feel like it's almost, I was trying to describe to my friends how it is. It's like, I feel like when you go through stuff in life, obviously like trauma and bad stuff, you kind of shove it to the back of your mind as best as you can to like forget about it. And I feel like doing this video, I've like shoved it all into like a box, and it's like Pandora's box, and like talking about it, I'm gonna like open it and then it's gonna be like overwhelming for me. But if this can help one person, that's what I want to do. So I wanted to do this because May is mental health month, and I really wanted to get this up before June, and when I start classes then it's gonna get super crazy. So that is that. I'm going to share my story with you guys. Please be nice in the comments. I'm not asking, oh my god, my nose is running. I'm not asking people to feel bad for me or pity me. This is seriously just my story. I'm okay. And I want you guys to know that you're not alone and that you guys can get through anything, and that God has a plan and he gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into the video. So I started college in August of 2017 at Ohio University, and it was the best time of my whole entire life. I had amazing roommates and I had the perfect like social life and school balance. I did great in school. I met so many new friends and I was just having like the best time, and everyone was kind of surprised because they're like, oh, Maddie will come home. She's like such so close to their family, and so like everyone was surprised. I was surprised, my family was surprised. We're like, oh, you know. And the best way I can describe how my first semester of college was and how I was from August to December was, and I tell everyone this, I felt like I was in like a dream world. Like everything was too good to be true. Like, you know, even every Monday was good, you know. It's kind of like, oh, Mondays. No, my Mondays were fun. My Mondays were great. I look forward to going to class. Like every day felt like Friday or Saturday, you know. Every day was just great. And so that's that. And we move into second semester of my freshman year of college. So that is January 2018. So I think I moved in the end of January, and my dad moved me in, and I was like, I think a little stressed because I was taking like chemistry, anatomy. I was taking more difficult classes, obviously, because each semester you know, take more classes and chances are they're more difficult. And it's kind of like anxious a little bit, but like nothing like out of the usual, and I was kind of just like feeling blah. That's kind of how I describe it. We all have those days where we just kind of feel blah for no reason, but normally like in a day or two it's fine, or in a couple hours, or we do some self-care or something, and then we're fine. But this kind of lingered on, and I mean, like thinking about it now, like I was gonna write notes down, but I'm kind of just going off the top of my head. I really don't want to edit this much either. Honestly, I feel like it just came out of nowhere almost. Like it's starting to like build up from like kind of just blah to just feeling so down. And I'm gonna add this little thing in here I'm just gonna mention to you guys. So my first semester, this is just a super quick add-on. My first semester, my skin got really bad. I always had breakouts in high school, like just around like just a couple, and I was like normal breakouts any like teenager would get, but it got really bad like right here on my face, and I can put a picture in so you guys can see. So I was like doing everything and that I could, and I didn't know if it was like stress or the new environment. I was in a really old dorm that probably had mold in it. So over Christmas break, I went to the doctor. I got like creams, and I also got oral medication. It wasn't Accutane. I get questions all the time. It was not Accutane. Honestly, I'm not even sure what it was because I threw it away so fast. So keep in mind, I'm taking a pill at the time, okay, for my acne. And I am someone who, I was like super, not like against it, but I was like, no, like if that's the last thing I need to do, okay. But like, I don't take any like pills if I have Tylenol, anything, birth control, none of that. That's personally for me, I just don't like, at that time, I just wasn't, I don't know, I didn't really like the idea of putting stuff in my body like that. So that's that. I like gave in. I was like, okay, I'll take the pill, whatever. So I was feeling, you know, as the days progressed, I was feeling like sad. And I remember one night specifically, I was going to a study session, and it was later on at night. I think it was like 8 p.m. for anatomy. And I remember I could not focus the whole entire time, like at all. I was just like so sad. I couldn't even like comprehend what was going on. Like I was so zoned out. Like I was not even there. It was not me. Like I was showing up, but like mentally not there whatsoever. So I was gonna go meet my ex-boyfriend, and we had dated, you guys know, for a long time. At that time period, we were broken up, but he was great support through the whole thing. So I asked if he wanted to go to the library and study with me, and he did. So we were leaving like my like class where I had to study from, and he met me outside, and we were about to go in the library, and I started like crying and freaking out, almost like a panic attack. I like couldn't catch my breath. I felt like I was gonna throw up. And we go into the library, and soon we had to like, we were in there for maybe 10 minutes. I couldn't focus. I thought I was gonna puke everywhere. My stomach was hurting so bad. So we end up leaving. He takes me back to my dorm, and that's when I call my parents, and I'm like, hey, like something is really wrong. I'm like not okay. And they thought that I was just stressed because it's like a new semester, and they knew I was like nervous because these classes were like big classes, like anatomy and chemistry, and I was taking a couple others. And my sister, I have a twin sister, and she goes to a different college, and she had started I think a week or two before me, and she kind of went through like, she was just crying, she was a little stressed, and my parents thought I was going through like the same thing. I'm like, no, this is different, like this is really bad. And they're like, it's okay, like you'll be fine. And then they started thinking, oh, maybe some like side effects of the medication, and they looked it up, and they were like, you know, it could be this. Some people, you know, it doesn't say on like the actual thing, but people wrote blog posts about it. Anyway, so they're like, you know, maybe you should stop taking it. So I stopped taking it, and then it was, you know, it takes a little bit to get it out of your system. So I think it was like the next day or the day later, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm feeling better. But I think it was like a head thing. I was like hoping so bad that that was why I was feeling like that. And it wasn't, because it didn't like help. I thought it helped maybe, but it didn't. This all happened in the time span from like end of January to middle of February. It was like the longest 3 or 4 weeks of my whole entire life. So after class, I would wake up in the morning, and I'd feel so like anxious and sad that like I physically could not get myself to eat, because like I just wanted to throw up like at the thought of food, and that's not like me. I love eating, and obviously like at this point I knew something was wrong. So I was telling my parents, calling them. I'm like 4 hours away. They couldn't do anything. They work full time. They have my little brother. They were like telling me, you need to eat, like you need to eat. And I was like, I can't. And I remember the only thing that I could even eat was like applesauce or like yogurt. And this may be like TMI, but all I was drinking was water, and like maybe eating 1 or 2 applesauces. I get anxious and nervous. My stomach starts hurting where I have to go like number 2. And so it was literally like, I know this is TMI, but like liquid, because I am not eating anything solid, and I'm barely eating anything at all, applesauce, yogurt, or like water. And I remember just like one day looking down at my wrists, like my arms, and I was like, oh my god, like my bones look like they were literally about to like rip through my skin. So like that's that. After classes and stuff, I would go to my ex-boyfriend's dorm and just lay there and like cry. And I felt so bad, because like that's a lot to put onto somebody, and he was like great the whole time, and I felt bad for his roommate too, because he should not have had to deal with that either, but he's great. We're friends from like grade school, so I felt comfortable enough. But it was so hard because my roommates didn't understand, and no one understood because everyone was so confused. Like, this is not the normal Maddie. Like, how does someone change like that? And I think the most frustrating thing for me too is like nothing specific happened. Like an event didn't happen that caused this downward spiral. It's honestly still so crazy. I just remember days where I would be studying on Saturday. I remember it was a specific Saturday, studying for like 8 hours for an anatomy exam, and I couldn't retain any information at all, and it was so frustrating for me. It was just horrible, and I wasn't doing good on my exams because I was studying for so long but not retaining anything. I would go to class every day and I couldn't even like comprehend what was going on because my mind was not there. Every morning I would wake up for class and I would cry because I was so scared, anxious, sad, scared of how I was feeling. And I remember like at night wanting to go to sleep so bad, and then in the morning like I was so mad when I woke up, you know, because I wanted to just stay in bed and not think and like go to sleep. And so I remember like me and my ex-boyfriend, we called my parents again, and he was great communicating with them too. Like, honestly, I don't even think I'd be here right now if it wasn't for him helping me. And so my dad came down and he's like, you know, you need to go see a counselor, we need to get you help. And I was really scared and embarrassed. So I went to a counselor there, and he like waited outside for me, and which was so sweet. He took a day off of work to come down and see me, which is so nice. And I saw a counselor. It didn't really help. Like, I just sat down and like told her, I guess, what I was like feeling, but it was still so new. Like, and she kind of just told me a lot of people feel like this. It's probably just stress from school. And I was like, okay. I think it was the weekend before Valentine's Day, I think. My mom came to visit me, and we stayed at like a hotel, and she was like surprised because she was like, oh, like you look so much better than I thought you would, like how you sound on the phone. And like, I did not like look good. I'm gonna try to find pictures and like insert them just so you can see like I was not myself. And we had like a nice time and whatnot. Still wasn't eating at all. Like they would have to like force me to eat. And then after she left, she went home, and it was horrible. It like hit me so hard. And I had like a follow-up appointment for the like counselor. But the thing was, this was a 3-hour session where they got to know me, and it was a like grad student like training. And if you have gone through this, the last thing you want to do is sit for 3 hours and do certain things. Like, it was like stuff you see in the movies. They hold up a picture of like a black like shaded thing on a white piece of paper. What do you see? I was doing different puzzles, and I was like, I don't like, what is going on? And I was like, I can only do 2 hours because I have something else after, which I didn't. I literally just couldn't even like comprehend sitting there for 3 hours. And I remember on the way to like that appointment, it was in a different building than when I first had my counseling appointment, and if you were late you had to like pay $50. And I was late because I was on the whole opposite end of campus. I called my mom crying. I was like, I don't want to do this, I'm like so sorry if you have to pay $50. I was like freaking out. Something that's like, it's like, okay, like they're not gonna, if I'm 2 minutes late, they're not gonna charge me, you know, if I got lost. And it was just horrible. So I went home, I believe it was February 16th or something, February 17th. And the plan was to go home for the weekend, see my family, and go back to school. And I was supposed to take like a bus home. I think they're called like Greyhound buses. And I was supposed to take one home. It's like a big bus. And I remember like freaking out when I woke up in the morning. I couldn't even go to my classes. I never, ever skip class. I don't skip class. I'm not paying all this money to skip classes, okay? but I literally skipped my class. I could not go. Couldn't even get out of bed. I was crying. I was like so worried I was gonna get sick on the bus, and like people were gonna make fun of me or something, just like crazy, like irrational thoughts. And so I was like, I can't go on the bus. I can't go on the bus. And like, I felt so bad. And my mom like came down and got me, which was so nice of her. We drove home, and obviously it felt good to be home. I remember talking to my parents. I think it was that night I got home, and I was like crying, and they were like, we already paid for your semester. You already paid for your semester. Like, you're gonna lose all this money if you come home. You can't come home. It's not practical. You're gonna lose all these credits. You're gonna lose all this money. And I'm like something's seriously wrong. It was just very difficult, and my parents kept saying, you're gonna regret it. When you come home, you're gonna regret it. And that hit me hard because my parents are always right about everything, and I knew from like my mid-teenage years that my parents were right about everything. I feel like you don't learn that until you're like older and you have your own kids. You're like, oh yeah, my mom and dad are right about everything. My parents are normally right about everything because they've been through it. They're wise, they're smart. And I was like, that's kind of what was like bothering me. We talked, and I wrote out like an appeal to get my tuition back, and I decided to officially unenroll, I guess, or like, I don't really know what the term would be, but I didn't want people to think, oh, I was dropping out of college. I didn't want my parents thinking that, because I wanted to still do school. I wanted to go back to school, just not where I was at. And so I think it was like a couple weeks later, I got my stuff. I said bye to my roommates. I was feeling like, oh, like I'm so much better. This is what I needed. I just needed to be home. It was just homesickness. And then like slowly but surely each day got a little better for maybe like 4 or 5 days, and then it got, sorry, my neighbor's getting his trash cans, and then it got just as bad. So I started going to therapy, I believe in March of 2018, and I still go now, and I actually haven't been since March, I think, just with the whole COVID thing. But yeah, since March, but I still go now. I found an amazing therapist, and I'm very open about me going to therapy. I don't think it is anything to be ashamed of. I tell everyone this too. I think if you're the most mentally stable, I don't even know if there's someone who is mentally stable in this world, but if you are and you have your whole life together, I think anyone would still benefit from going to therapy. So yeah, that definitely helped me. And I remember just like being home, and the thought of leaving my house freaked me out like so much. So I got home like mid-February and started classes after my community college's spring break. They have like 8-week classes, so I started like middle of March, so I had like a month off. So I was still like studying my anatomy, doing some stuff to try to keep busy, but I was like scared. Like, I didn't want to sleep in my room. If I slept in my room, I wanted the door open. I didn't want to be alone. I would go with my mom everywhere. I was just so freaked out to like leave the house. I never want to go out to eat. I never want to go to the movies. Didn't want to hang out with friends, and like going to eat and going to the movies with my friends is like my most favorite thing ever. Like, I love that. It makes me so happy. Like, I love the movie theater. I love my friends. I love going out to eat, and I did not want to do any of that. And I felt so like not me. And I remember just like waking up every day and just wanting to go back to sleep, and just not doing anything for like that month, just like laying. And that is the worst thing that you can do, because then you just overthink. And I remember like my mindset was so like foggy and like clouded. I wasn't me. It was like irrational thoughts like, this is not going to get better. I'm going to feel like this forever. What's the point of living? Like, my thoughts were so dark. Like, how can I be a nurse if I can't even take care of myself? You know, how can I take care of someone else? Like, I'm a mess. And I remember one night, which I'll probably never forget, sadly, but this was the night that I think everyone in my family realized how bad it was. We were going out to dinner, and it was like snowing really, really bad, and we were at like a big intersection, and we were turning left. So we got like a green arrow to turn left, and this truck, it was like snowing really, really bad. This truck ran the red light and he almost like T-boned us. And I remember wishing so bad that that would have happened, because then I wouldn't have to be in pain anymore. And I wouldn't have to hurt anymore. And I had told my family that when we got home, and I remember Allie started crying, and I think that's when they realized how bad it was. And I have never self-harmed before, and I definitely had like thoughts of like just wanting to be gone, and I don't think I could have ever actually hurt myself because of like fear, and I could not do that to my family. My family is my whole entire world, and I know how loved and cared for I am, but I was just so tired of being in pain. And I remember I had seen this thing online, and it was like, I'm not really sure what it was from, but a woman said to this like young guy, you know, you don't want to die, you just want to stop being in pain. And that was like, oh my gosh, that's right. Like, I want to still be alive and live how I did before and be me and just enjoy this life God has given me. It's just that the pain is sometimes so overbearing. And so that's that. I went, I think it was like May of 2018 was the first time I like hung out with my friends after everything. And it was like big steps, like these things that are like so normal to everyone. It's like I had to learn how to live again. I had to teach myself. And like with my therapist, the littlest steps were like the biggest accomplishments for me. Oh my gosh, like what was I would have been like 19, maybe 18, 19. Oh my gosh, like you went to dinner with your friends, like big deal. Like no, like it was the biggest deal ever. And like luckily my sister was with me because we're twins, we have the same friend group, and she was just great through this whole process. And you know, slowly it was, you know, I was picking myself back up, doing stuff again. And fall 2018, it got my anxiety kind of a little bit kind of picked up with school, but it was manageable because I'm going to therapy. I was taking care of myself, and that was such a huge step from what I was going through at Ohio University in January and February. And then when I started my classes in March at my community college, I remember I was so scared. I remember I wasn't eating, and my mom was like forcing me to eat. She was like, you need to eat like yogurt. And I remember crying, like tears falling into my yogurt, eating it, like just crying that I didn't want to go to class. Like I'm 18 or 19, I was 18, yeah. And just so sad and so nervous to go to class. I'd be so nervous, and it's just like, it was crazy. So that transition, and then into the fall, it went better. I took anatomy over that summer, so I was doing okay. I was, you know, slowly but surely picking myself up. I started doing meditation on the Headspace app. I can do a whole video on like what I did to like cope, and like how I do now to like de-stress and like take care of myself. But the last thing I wanted to do was go on medication, but I decided to go talk to a psychiatrist. So I see a therapist, which is a licensed like psychologist, so they are not allowed to prescribe medication. So I went to a psychologist who works through the same company as my therapist, and I kind of had to tell her my story again. And this was December of 2018, and she's like, okay, like you definitely sounded like you went through a period of severe depression, and she diagnosed me with, like, at that time, because I was still like anxious, and I feel like especially now with what's going on in the world, a lot of people are experiencing anxiety who probably haven't experienced it before, or like more than usual. She diagnosed me with anxiety disorder, and she didn't diagnose me with GAD, which is general anxiety disorder, because she said that people with general anxiety disorder feel anxious at home and when they leave, but the only time I was really anxious at my house was if I was thinking about leaving, like going out somewhere, and then it was more so like sad, depressing, dark thoughts that were just like so consuming. And so she put me on acetylopram, I think it is. It's like Lexapro, and I take like the lowest dose. It's for my anxiety, and it definitely has helped. I remember when I first started using it, I described it as like being anxious was like my stomach's in this big bubble, and like the anxious thoughts, or like being anxious, are these butterflies flying around it making me nervous, but like they can't get to it in the bubble, so it's like the thoughts are there but it's not affecting me, almost, if that makes sense. That's kind of how I can describe it. But yeah, so I started on that in December 2018, and I'm still taking it today, and obviously I'm hoping to slowly get off of it, but eventually, not anytime soon, I don't think. But I still struggle with anxiety. It's very normal, and you just need to know when it is becoming, when it's consuming you. And when I was going through all that anxiety and depression, I was like closing off my like comfort zone. I was staying in my comfort zone, and literally your comfort zone will kill you. Like, your comfort zone, if you make it this small, like this is the whole world outside of your tiny little comfort zone that you're not gonna get to experience or live, because you're stuck in your little comfort zone. And I had to teach myself how to go out of that again, and it was hard, but it was worth it. And I don't know if you guys like follow me, but I think it was like December 31st, I posted on Instagram like a video of my 2019 that I had. And 2019 was the best year of my entire life. It was so magical and so amazing, and honestly, I would not be here without my family and all my friends and the support system that I have in you guys. I started my channel actually in August of 2018, when I think I just finished up Anatomy 1, and it's just crazy. And honestly, I've grown so much, I've matured so much through all of this, and my whole outlook on life is different, and I feel like I can be a very strong individual who is there for others who need help through times like this, and someone who came out on the other side of it, and I'm okay. Every day is not great, but I would be so proud of myself if I could see a clip of, you know, what 2019 and, you know, through now had in store for me. I'd be very proud of myself. And I don't know, kind of what kept me pushing too is I'd always picture like little me, like through like baby pictures, or like, you know, like I can't give up on little Maddie, you know, she had so many dreams, and I'm like, you can't give up on that. You can't give up on, you know, little you. And I think that it is so important to get help. It should not be embarrassing. There should be no stigma, you know, around mental health, but there is. Mental illness is so real. Depression, anxiety is so real, and it's okay. It's gonna be okay, and it's okay to get help. You are loved, and you are so important and so, so special. God has so many great things planned for you, and this is difficult to go through if you're going through this right now. I know, trust me. And I know every day feels like eternity, and I know that you feel like you can't even, you know, all you want to do is sleep, and like even you sleep a lot, you can't get enough. Like you just want to be sleeping so you don't have to think and you don't have to be in pain. But get up and get moving, and just do little things each day. Even if it's getting up and you brushed your teeth and you're getting back in bed. That's great, you got up and you brushed your teeth. So that's my story. I'm sure there was stuff I was forgetting, but honestly, it kind of came out of nowhere, but I am happy that I am the person that I am today because I am so much stronger and I can put myself in people's shoes so much better now. And I think all around I'm just a lot more aware of my surroundings. I have a whole different outlook on life. And that was kind of my story. Make sure to take care of the ones that you love and check on your friends and your family, especially during times like this. You never know what someone's going through. They could be the smartest, the most handsome, the most beautiful, the richest person in the whole entire world, and that doesn't mean that they're happy. So definitely check on your friends and family. We don't want anyone to suffer in silence. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Please take care of yourselves and take care of your mental health. It is so important. So I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video.